Hey world, what up? We're here now on Bleacher Report for Mr. Zach Buckley. Wanted to check back in with Bleacher Report, kind of see how things are going on their articles. One that kind of caught my interest here was, quote, the best trade offers every NBA lottery team could hear on draft night. Basically, where we're at in the NBA as of right now, the Los Angeles Lakers are in the finals against the Miami Heat. LeBron James and Anthony Davis have been dominant within the finals. The first two games were more on Anthony Davis's side, and LeBron James has pretty much taken the last couple of games. And the Lakers are now taking a commanding 3-1 series lead. And on Friday night, they're going to wear their black Mamba jerseys. So it looks like they're going to close them out. And pretty much the Miami Heat are going to go home fishing. You have the Lakers who are going to host the Larry O'Brien Trophy. So now we're kind of looking into the offseason. So let's see with Mr. Buckley these different trade packages and proposals during on draft night. Before I kind of jump into here, I really don't expect any big moves when it comes to the draft night. I think if you're the Golden State Warriors with the second pick, I know James Wiseman is a good pick for them, but they're looking to pretty much bring in a wing and a small forward for their team. So I could definitely see the Warriors try to swing that pick. Maybe they can pull up with Tobias Harris if they want to trade with Philadelphia. Or anything kind of along those lines, but nothing really caught my eye to where there's anything really realistic to come through or kind of big. But let's kind of see what Mr. Buckley says. We'll kind of get my take within here. All right, so the first trade, he's got the Minnesota Timberwolves with Victor Oladipo. So let's see here. The Minnesota Timberwolves will receive Victor Oladipo and Aaron Holiday, and in return, the Pacers would receive James Johnson if he decides to opt in, Jarrett Culver, and the number one pick. Listen, if you're the Indiana Pacers and you can pretty much trade away a hurt and hobbling and a declining Oladipo for the number one pick for a potential Anthony Edwards, you pretty much have finessed the whole league. If you're the Minnesota Timberwolves, there's no reason you're going to pull in Victor Oladipo. There's already been trade rumors of Karl Anthony Towns once out of Minnesota. You did bring D'Angelo Russell as part of that Andrew Wiggins trade. So if you're the GM of the Minnesota Timberwolves, you're pretty much trying to please Karl Anthony Towns by bringing in D'Lo. But we all know the Minnesota Timberwolves are not going to make the playoffs for 2021, and maybe they can make 30 games to win. I can really care less when it comes to them. But there's no way you're going to trade your first pick for a new direction in the franchise for Victor Oladipo, who's around 29 years of age, who's had multiple injuries, and with him, he's been hobbled. No, sir. And real quickly, if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves, I've always stated this past couple of my videos. A couple months ago, they need to blow up that franchise of Karl Anthony Towns and D'Lo, even though D'Lo just got there, but they need to blow it up. They need to go a new direction with the new blood. All right, number two, the Golden State Warriors. So they're going to give away their second pick, and in return, they will receive Mitchell Robinson and the eighth pick. I'm not even going to comment on this. That's just asinine. I'm skipping that. There's no way they're going to trade their second pick in return for Mitchell Robinson. Now, the young cat, he's good on the Knicks. He's dominant, but no, sir. No way. The Warriors are not going to give a potential number second pick of either LaMelo Ball, James Wiseman. I doubt Anthony Edwards would be number two. Obi Toppin, they're not going to give that away. No, sir. For Mitchell Robinson, no. The Charlotte Hornets. Now, the Hornets are in a great position. They got the third pick in the draft. I expect them, and I would like for them to get LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball he's going to flourish in Charlotte as being a starting point guard at 6'8". I see him more as an impact player. Players will love to play around him. He will get pretty much teammates involved, and he can upload a franchise. And kudos to him because the first two picks of the Minnesota and in Golden State, those are in the Western Conference. So if you're a young all-star and if you're LaMelo Ball, it's easier to make an Eastern Conference all-star appearance in the future. And the East is pretty open, so it's easy to be a 7th or 8th seed in the Eastern Conference, pretty much having 34 to 38 wins, and you can hop in. Now in the West, you're going to have to push for around 48 wins. So LaMelo Ball, I think this is a great situation going to Charlotte. Not a lot of media and not a lot of pressure on him. I think they'll put him in a great position. Lonzo Ball and the Lakers, you have the LA shine, you have the media, the hype, and that was a detriment to him. But I think I would love for LaMelo Ball to go to the Charlotte Hornets. So if you're the Hornets, no need to make a trade. But let's see what they would say here. The Hornets would receive Buddy Hield, and return they would give away Nicholas Batum if he decides to opt in. And Nicholas Batum's part of that big contract of $20 million a year, so Batum's definitely going to opt in. Give away Malik Monk and the 32nd pick. Now, if you're the Sacramento Kings, Vlade Divac, I don't know what position you hold to where you would trade away Buddy Hield for an asinine trade like this. I know Buddy Hield just got a new contract. It's around 4 or 5 years. It's a huge extension. Other teams like the 76ers, they'll give you better pieces. He's in high demand, even though he doesn't have a good contract. But to receive this petty fool of a trade, no, sir, no. So far, Mr. I don't remember his name, but he's 0 for 3 right now. And again, these trade packages, these will be quote-unquote proposals if we're on draft night. So the Chicago Bulls, let's see here. So they got the 4th pick overall. With them, they're probably most likely going to either get Obi Toppin, James Wiseman. You can get some of the European cats. But for them, it says here on his proposal, the Bulls will receive DeMar DeRozan if he decides to opt in, and Patty Mills. And the Spurs will receive Otto Porter Jr. if he decides to opt in, Chandler Hutchinson, and the 44th pick. If you're the Bulls, you're in a weird spot with Larry Markkinen and Zach LaVine. You just did hire Billy Donovan, so it looks like they're trying to go young as it is. Now, if there is a huge pressure on their demand to make the playoffs, I can see why they would trade away Otto Porter Jr. for DeMar DeRozan. I doubt DeMar DeRozan's even going to opt in. He can be an unrestricted free agent. He can pretty much chase the bag somewhere else. So I don't see DeMar DeRozan opting in. Now, I can see Otto Porter Jr. opting in because he would get paid around $24 million. And in the market, that's not going to happen. So I think this is unrealistic. If you're the Bulls, they're in a weird spot because you got Zach LaVine and Larry Markkinen. You got Wendell there as well. They're in a weird spot. No, I don't see this going through. And even if you get DeMar DeRozan, it's for one season. So I don't know. I don't see it. You got the Cleveland Cavaliers. So again, they got the 5th pick. They gotta give away Kevin Love. They should have got rid of him since after they won the championship in 2016, especially in 2018 when LeBron left in free agency. You got to get away Kevin Love, and with the rest of the team, they're in a weird slot. I would try to trade up and try to get LaMelo Ball if I'm the Cavaliers, if anything. But let's see what they said here. They would give away Kevin Love. They would send him to Sacramento. And in return, the Cavaliers would get Harrison Barnes, Jabari Parker, and the 35th pick. I'm pretty sure the Cavs had Jabari Parker last season, if I'm not mistaken. I think they did have him. I don't remember on that part. You can get something better for Kevin Love. You can probably get around 2 second-round picks and a pretty good rotation player. I think if they traded him to possibly the Portland Trailblazers, you can probably get like a Gary Trent Jr., a couple picks, and maybe a younger cat, another younger cat or two as well. But if you're the Cavaliers, I'm not crazy about that trade. The Cavs need a franchise player, and right now they don't have one. So I'll look to pretty much make a trade. Trying to think real quick. If LaMelo Ball doesn't go number 3 to Charlotte, you can possibly make a trade if you're the Cavaliers for the 4th pick. So you can secure LaMelo Ball, and in return, you can send Chicago a Kevin Love and possibly, trying to think real quick, maybe like a Tristan Thompson and probably, 2 second-round picks. Maybe Chicago will bite if they're trying to pretty much make the playoffs, but I don't know. I was just kind of free-flowing on there, but I don't know. I mean, the Bulls, I think for them, they need to get LaMelo Ball, if anything. And if you're the Cavaliers, you're in a weird position. You're not really going to grow. You're not going to get a franchise player. They're in a weird spot. And they should have been rebuilding 3 seasons ago, and they never done it right. And with the Cavs, they do have Andre Drummond, who did just opt in, so I don't know. I think they need to go young. You got the Atlanta Hawks at number 6. So Atlanta with Trae Young, I think they're either going to be a 9th, 10th, or 8th seed. Worst case scenario entering the 2021 season. Trae Young has high aspirations, let alone a demand to make the playoffs. And, Atlanta, they need to make a couple of roster changes. They need more offensive threats and weapons alongside with Trae Young, who can get their own shot off themselves. Now, they do have a great front court. You do have Jason Collins. You do have Clint Capella, who was just acquired last season. And then you have Trae Young, probably with Kevin Porter, DeAndre Hunter. They probably need to fix out that 2 and 3 slot. Maybe bring in a Buddy Hield. I know that backcourt would be terrible defensively, but you need to find some other offensive threats and weapons out there. So let's see what they got here. Atlanta will receive Bradley Beal and Ish Smith. And in return, the Wizards will get DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, Kevin Porter, Dwayne Dedmon, and the 2021 first-round pick, top 10 protected. It's not bad. Washington does need to rebuild, of course, and retool. I think if you're going to give away Bradley Beal, you can definitely get better pieces and younger pieces. Like, for example, if you were to trade for Miami instead, you can get, I doubt Miami will do that now, but you could have got like a Tyler Herro, possibly, Duncan Robinson, yada, yada, yada. Trying to think of other young teams that could use Bradley Beal. Possibly if you trade him to the Nuggets, you could have got like a Michael Porter Jr., some of these young cats, but the Miami Heat and Denver Nuggets made the conference finals each, so they're not going to give away and blow up their team. So the Wizards are actually in a bad position now. But they can definitely get more. Now, if you're the Atlanta Hawks, you make that trade, no doubt about it. Bradley Beal and Trae Young, I don't know if they would mesh as well, but you would have a star player on the team alongside. You got the Detroit Pistons. Detroit's such a weird position, man. You have a hobbled Blake Griffin and a hobbled Dwayne Casey as a coach. You got Derrick Rose there, who's been balling out, but let's just be real. If he's going to be a starter for a team, that team is either barely making the playoffs or they're not a contender at all. Derrick Rose, even though he's progressed a lot these last 2 seasons, he still needs to be a 6-man for a contender. That's just me personally seeing it. But if you're the Pistons, you may have to ride it out for one more season with Blake Griffin and Derrick Rose because they do have 1 year left of their contract. I don't really see any contenders or teams trying to chase and make a trade for Blake Griffin. So I think they may keep the team as it is, being that kind of mediocre, trying to make the playoffs, probably losing the first round stage. But Pistons are a mess. Let's see here. They would give away Derrick Rose, and in return they'll get Melvin Frazier Jr. and the 15th pick. No, sir. If you're the Pistons, you're going to ride with Derrick Rose instead of some, kind of useless young cats in a pick right there. No. They would keep Derrick Rose. He's not Showtime, but he's box office to where you can bring in some fans. So if they're going to be mediocre with Blake Griffin and Dwayne Casey, you're going to keep Derrick Rose most likely. You got a couple more here. The New York Knicks. Knicks are going to receive Enes Kanter. Okay, part 2. Romeo Langford, the 14th pick and 30th pick. And they would give away Taj Gibson in the 8th pick to the Boston Celtics. Wow. Is this author on crack? Why would the Knicks ever do that? No, sir. The Washington Wizards, the kind of we were stating before. So we got a 2-team trade here. They would receive Steven Adams and the 53rd pick. In return, they would give away Thomas Bryant, Jerome Robinson, Morris Wagner, and Ish Smith. For the Oklahoma City Thunder with Sam Presti, they are trying to, as we've seen with trade rumors, trying to give away Steven Adams. Looks like they want that $20 million contract out the door. Looks like they're going to retool, giving away Billy Donovan as he's gone, and probably going to trade away CP3. You can get a lot more for Steven Adams, but if you're the Wizards, you definitely take that trade, if anything, because you're going to have one more season left of Steven Adams' contract, and let alone one more. You're pretty much going to ride Bradley Beal and John Wall for one last duo pairing. So might as well bring in Steven Adams while you're at it. The other young cats I don't really care too much about as impact. The Phoenix Suns. So they would receive Jordan Poole and the number 2 pick to Golden State for Kelly Oubre Jr. and the 10th pick. Now, like I was stating before, the Golden State Warriors were looking for a small forward and a wing player. But for Kelly Oubre Jr., now he just got injured at the end of the season. And with Kelly Oubre Jr., the Golden State Warriors, they can make a better improvement than to get him instead. They would rather ride the Andrew Wiggins trade and the Andrew Wiggins flow of things, except for Kelly Oubre. They can use that number 2 pick. Maybe they can bring in an Obi Toppin. Maybe they have to do a 3-team trade, but I don't see the Warriors trading the 2nd pick of potential for Kelly Oubre. But back in that trade, that would be very ideal for the Suns to do, no doubt about it. You can bring in LaMelo Ball alongside with Devin Booker. Oh yeah. You have the San Antonio Spurs, so they would receive Aaron Gordon, Al-Farouq Aminu, and the 15th pick. In return, if DeMar DeRozan opts in, they would trade him and Patty Mills to the Magic. Now, if you're the Magic, you definitely make that trade. Aaron Gordon has not progressed at all the way we kind of expected him to be. And if you're the Magic, you've always been around a 7th and 8th seed. Now, you have a pretty good foundation, a young core. You have Markelle Fultz, who's really blossomed as he couldn't in Philly, but now he is in Orlando. You do have Vucevic, who is an all-star. You have Mobamba, who is very young and who has potential. So if you're the Magic, you're trying to make it to the 2nd round, take that next step. I see why they would do it. To bring in Patty Mills, who's a veteran type point guard and player on the team, I would like that for them. And DeMar DeRozan, who can run the 3, and probably move Jonathan Isaac now to the 4. I think that team would be ideal. And I think DeMar DeRozan would actually re-sign with there probably for a 3-year contract. That's just me personally, but I like that trade for both sides. So I'll give the author this one. The Sacramento Kings, they would receive Victor Oladipo and Miles Turner, and Indiana will actually get Buddy Hield, Namaja Beljevic, and the 12th pick. No, sir, I don't see that for the Pacers. Now, for the Kings, you take that trade for sure. And for the Kings, that's a weird spot. You're still not making the playoffs. You don't really have a true direction with a 29-year-old Oladipo. But Miles Turner would be a great pick. But the Kings are in a weird spot, man. But the Pacers, no, that's not a good trade. Not at all. You can get more for Oladipo. Last one here, the Pelicans. They're going to receive Gary Harris, Bol, Keita Bates-Diop, and the 22nd pick. And the Nuggets will receive Drew Holiday. Now, I've always stated the Pelicans need to trade away Drew Holiday. They need to pretty much go in a new young direction and clear that cap space. But if you're the Pelicans, do not make that trade. You can get a lot more and better deals for Drew Holiday. Now, there is Philly, and you do have the Brooklyn Nets who are interested in obtaining Drew Holiday. I think you can get some better picks, especially if you send them to Brooklyn. You can possibly get a Spencer Dinwiddie. You could probably get a Joe Harris. I doubt Karis LeVert, but some young guys like that. And the Pelicans need some good young cats. I would not take Gary Harris's $14 million contract. We actually got one more here, the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are going to receive Romeo Langford, Carson Edwards, Cantor, Vincent Poirier, and the 22nd pick. In return, the Celtics would get Jonas Valanciunas. I would say no for the Grizzlies part. Valanciunas has played great on their team. If you're the Celtics, it's a good pick if you get Valanciunas. You do have Daniel Tice as your starting center, but Valanciunas would be an upgrade. And I think Valanciunas is only owed like $15 million a year. Personally, for me, if I'm the Celtics, I try to make a trade for Steven Adams instead if you're really trying to upgrade that center position. But Valanciunas can get the job done. Nothing too crazy when it comes to there, but yeah, overall, some trades I wasn't too crazy about. There's only one that really caught my eye, but definitely expect the Warriors to possibly make a trade on their pick, and then as well as kind of see how what goes around with LaMelo Ball, if he's going to get pretty much could be the 2nd, 3rd pick or anything in the mix. Expect Oladipo to get traded, possibly in the draft night. There's going to be some other names thrown around as well. Buddy Hield, Bradley Beal possibly, but I don't expect too much draft night because you do have the bubble. Everything's been kind of crazy. We don't know when the season's going to return or not for 2021. I don't expect too much moves, but you may have one or two that are kind of midway. But we'll cover